If you want Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in an older car, one of the easiest ways is with a portable screen. There's a quick 5-minute install and you've upgraded your car to have maps and music on your dashboard. But one of the best additional features of these sorts of screens is to pair it with a reversing camera, so you can get a widescreen clear view of what's going on behind you. The steps I go through in this video are the same for the majority of vehicles, and I'll run through everything you need to know to install and wire a reversing camera, so it automatically switches on when you put the car in reverse. There's affiliate links to everything you need to do this install for yourself in the description below. And hang around until the end, because if in a few minutes time you think this isn't the solution for you, then there are a couple of other alternative methods to get your reversing camera showing on screen without tapping the rear light. Finally, the install I'm about to do is for educational and informational purposes only. This isn't professional automotive advice, and you're responsible for any work you perform on your own vehicle. If you're not sure, you should consult a qualified professional. Let's get started. The first step, of course, is installing a screen. Thankfully, it's incredibly easy with a mount that sticks to the dashboard and a power cable going into the 12-volt cigarette lighter. The screen used in this video is the CarpodGo W703, which is one of the smaller ones available. This is not a sponsored video, but you should know that the screen was provided for review a while back. If you don't know which screen to get yourself, do check out my pinned playlist, which has reviews of the latest top dashboard consoles of all shapes and sizes to suit every vehicle. The reversing camera I'll be installing is a fairly universal design. They usually transmit in either 720 or 1080 HD quality and are waterproof too, so can be mounted to the outside of your vehicle if you like. Reversing cameras for dashboard screens are usually connected via a 2.5 or 3.5mm jack on the end of a very long cable, so it can reach to the back of the vehicle and carry the video signal back. If you were just to plug this into the screen and put the vehicle into reverse, it wouldn't work, as the device has no way of knowing what the car is doing. But there's a small red trigger wire, and this is the clever part of the setup. By connecting this wire to the reversing light wire, the screen will automatically switch to the rear camera whenever the car is put into reverse and the reversing light bulb receives power. In my opinion, it's well worth doing to get the full functionality of the screen. To connect the red trigger wire, first locate the side of your vehicle with the reversing light and then see where the wires connect to. You'll most likely need to remove the rear light, which often requires a socket and wrench, so you can see the wires you're dealing with and which one goes into the rear light bulb. In the installs I've done, the reversing light wire is usually red, however that's not always the case, so it's worth being 100% sure before committing to any work. To confirm the correct wire, use a multimeter and set it to 20 volts in the DC range. I have a 3-stage test for making sure you've got the correct wire. First, with the key out of the ignition, press the positive red probe into the reversing light cable and the black negative ground probe to a piece of bare metal on the car. There should be no reading on the multimeter. Second, with the ignition on but not the full engine, put the vehicle in reverse gear, confirming it visually as the reversing light should now be on, and run the same test, and this time it should show around 12 volts on the multimeter. Third and finally, leave the ignition on but take the vehicle out of reverse gear and put it in neutral. The multimeter should show nothing once again, as the reversing bulb isn't getting any power. With the wire now confirmed, make sure a decent bit of it is easily accessible for the connection, and it's time to attach the red trigger wire of the reversing camera onto it. We're not simply connecting two wires together at the ends, but adding a wire to the middle of another, so standard lever connectors won't do the job and crimping isn't ideal. I've previously used T-Taps for a reversing camera install and haven't had any problems at all, but they aren't really the best product for the job, as they expose quite a bit of the wire. Posi-Taps are my choice this time, and although slightly more expensive at around £10 for a pack of 6 at the time of filming, they are a better option in my opinion, because they do less damage to the wire, have a strong, screw-tight connection, are reusable, and are less likely to come loose. I haven't covered every connection possibility here, and when dealing with electrics especially, I'd always encourage you to do your own research or consult a professional. Back to the wiring, if the end of the red trigger wire isn't well exposed, then you may want to use wire strippers to create a fresh end. Twist the wires together, then, with the Posi-Tap unscrewed, slip the Posi-Tap end over the exposed wire strands. Now screw the remainder of the Posi-Tap body back onto the top piece, and this locks the wire in place. With that secure, you can unscrew the bottom portion of the Posi-Tap connector. Slip the slit over your reversing light wire at the point you want to make the connection, and then simply screw the Posi-Tap together. The pin will pierce the wire and you'll have made the connection. Before hiding the wiring and mounting the camera, it's worth testing everything works correctly. Turn on the ignition but not the engine and check that the CarPodGo screen powers up. Then put the car into reverse. If everything is wired correctly, the screen should automatically switch to the reversing view camera, and of course the reversing light should come on as usual. Next, decide where you want to mount the camera. Most people install it above the number plate or near the boot or trunk handle, though you could stick it to the inside of your rear window. Cameras vary, but most have an adjustable hinge so you can mount it in a variety of positions and angles, and this can be tightened as needed. I'm installing it on the inside of this rear window, so we'll just be sticking it in place using the included adhesive pad, but if you're mounting it to the rear trim, then you'll need a stronger but irreversible hold by using the included screws. I wouldn't recommend screwing into any metal, as this will encourage rust. Next, we need to hide the long camera cable into the vehicle. If I had installed this camera on the outside of the car, then I would look for any existing holes or rubber wiring grommets I could work the wire through into the inside of the vehicle. Many cars also have rubber tubes that carry wires from the boot or trunk lid into the body of the vehicle, but these are often tightly packed and well sealed. It's worth a look anyway. Feeding cables around can be fiddly, so you'll need to use some creativity to find the best way that works for your mounting position and where you need to route the wires to in your particular vehicle. Once the cable is inside the car, run it along the interior trim towards the front of the vehicle. You can hide it behind door sill trim, carpet edges or interior panels, but be sure not to block any airbags, and the general rule is to follow existing wiring. Eventually bring it forward to the dashboard area, working it up through the dashboard to where the screen is mounted. The goal is to keep everything hidden so the installation looks as clean and factory-like as possible. Finally, plug it in and you're sorted. If you've watched this video and think tapping the rear light just isn't for me, then there are still options for adding a reversing camera to your vehicle. First, there are dedicated wireless reversing cameras. These are a little bulkier, only really pair with small screens that don't have CarPlay or maps, and usually have a bit of lag. Secondly, some models like the CarpodGo W125S come with a specific button on the 12-volt power unit which automatically brings up the camera screen. Finally, check out the CarpodGo screen lineup. Their latest releases, the Mini, T4 and T4 Plus, have a great reversing screen feature. Simply swipe from the side of the screen and the rear cam image will be displayed. All of these options do require an extra step beyond the simplicity of just putting the car in reverse, but could be a useful alternative for some. So that's the reversing cam install complete. If you followed the video and done it for yourself, congrats! You not only have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto in your car, but also an automatically activating reversing camera. Once again, I've got affiliate links to everything you need for this install in the description below, including my favourite screens as well as their full review videos, so do check that out. Also, if you have any questions, please drop them below and I'll do my best to answer them. Finally, if you found this video helpful, consider subscribing for more car tech installs, upgrades and how-to guides. Thanks for watching.